Hey, I was just in my Queen's School group and I was about to do this enormous reply to a question in there. And I thought, actually, what I'm going to do is pop in here instead and say it here, and then I'll tag this beautiful woman in the post. So essentially, what she had written was, every day I'm dropping these sort of 20-ish minute tutorials on the King this week. So every day we're busting stories that we have about the masculine, about the wounding we have with masculine, about how we show up with the masculine, about their cycles and archetypal drives and desires, and how we can be in a space of beautiful collaboration where everybody just up levels the amount of vibe that they have. So after every single live, there's often a flurry of comments like, holy shit, like mind blown, no idea, can't believe it, blah, blah, blah. So this beautiful woman had written this post where she's like, oh, all this stuff. And then she went, but I want to be really honest that I'm feeling really overwhelmed, that I see all of the things that I can change, need to change, want to be better, want to implement now, want to do right away. And then I crumble in a heap of overwhelm because there's just so much. And then my head goes, I can't do it. It's not possible. It's not possible to do this thing. It's not possible to do all of the things. It's not possible to do this level of change or put in place these steps. And then ensues kind of this slip down of energy. And I was about to write this huge flurry of a response back to her. And then I thought, actually, this is probably relevant for many of us. And what I want to say here is you've just been conditioned to believe that your momentum or your impact on this world has to do with doing, has to do with the amount that you do, the activities that you do, the actions that you take, the continuous steps where you're creating the doing actions and then doing the doing of the actions, and that is what creates and implements change and momentum. But that's only one half of a universal whole. It's only the masculine. It's not anything to do with the feminine. And what if you've been sold a lie? What if you've been sold that this is the way you make things happen? And it's not true. What if it's not true? What if instead the place where you have the greatest impact is in observation, is in simply taking the space of consciousness as the masculine rather than the space of actionable doing? And you're able to step back just a tiny bit and come into a heart-opened, front-bodied, open space of observation where you really practice turning off the projector screen that you have in your head about how things are and who they are, and all of the internal dialogue that just clutters up that consciousness space. And instead you just got to observe. So we're doing lessons, and at the end of each lesson, I'm giving them steps, or these beautiful queens in my Queen School steps of what they're observing. So we're not even talking about implementing change right now. You've got to observe, you've got to see it before you can change it. And I don't think that change, particularly in the feminine, particularly in the paradigm of relationship that I'm talking about, has anything to do with doing. I don't think it has anything to do with it. I don't think that even needs to be a thing that you get overwhelmed with. I think it has to be letting go of the cultural system that says this is how you create change. This is how you impact the world, when it's not at all true. How you impact the world is by being the free-flowing beacon of love in any moment, which is what your feminine core is designed to do. To remove anything that's chocking up or blocking off that free-flowing movement of pelvis to heart to out, right? This process. What if all of your power and your ability to create enormous change has to do with simply observing, simply witnessing a stretched open version of reality, because that's what I've provided in that lesson. That's what you've heard in those moments. A different way of seeing the world, which is designed just to pull back the veil, right? And then instead of doing anything with those, you simply started to look for them in your world. And as soon as you look for them, you've already instantaneously changed the patterning and the course of your reality moving forwards, because that's the quantum field, right? So simply by coming into a space of opening, of moving into feminine flow, of observation rather than doing, and really cultivating a love for what you're observing, because now you can see it. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to exhaust yourself. You don't have to get all lack mentality and scarcity about all of the resources you now don't have because there's all this extra stuff that you have to be doing. It's not the space of the feminine. It's not your role as the feminine being in relationship. It's not what I want you to be focused on. What I want you to be focused on is your ability to continuously come back to being the beacon of flowing life and love energy, moving freely through your body, witnessing and observing the movement and the creative matrix around you, the beautiful movement of the men that you see, the beautiful movement of the way that they move about in the world. And simply, that's all you have to do. What if you could be cultivating like a plug-in of energy and then getting more energy from witnessing these things? And the more you build and cultivate that love, the more energy you get back. You haven't done anything. But instantaneously, by being there, you've completely, totally, and utterly changed the way that you already show up with that human, with that masculine core partner. You've already changed it. You don't have to do anything to have enormous impact. You're designed as a feminine being to be the beacon of love. You flow, you feel, you send it out, and you get to witness that life energy come back at you. And the more you cultivate that, the more you, like, it's setting out an energetic intention, right? Versus doing anything. So if you're getting stuck in the overwhelm and the doing and the exhaustion of the masculine, because the feminine is where you replenish, not the masculine, then come back to your core. Come back to that place of flow within you where you can cultivate just to plug into that divine energy. And in doing that, then send that out to the people around you. They'll feel that. Of course they will. You don't have to do anything for them to do that. The masculine is hardwired to be like I always think of it like a fox, like pricks up its ears and it's like, I see that. What just happened there? You know, you can literally almost play a game with this. When I turn my energy on, how many seconds will it take before that masculine core partner is like the fox with the pricked up ears? I literally play this as a game sometimes. I think I've got it down to about 2 or 3 seconds if I really want to. Do you really want to? Like, I really honestly think your feminine core and the impact that you have on relationship and intimacy has nothing to do with doing and exhausting yourself in the doing because there's now more shit that your ego has to do or shed. I actually think it's more about relaxing open because we spend so long in tension, so long closed up and tight and seeking for that masculine version of just a quick release. I'm talking about something completely different here. And so when I read this beautiful woman's post, I just thought, what if instead of that belief, you could choose to see another one that you just haven't been programmed with since childhood, but that exists. It's a reality. What if it has nothing to do with your doing at all and has everything to do with the cultivating of your curiosity, with the ability to flow with love, observe, and then kind of just energetically tweak. And all of a sudden it's like the butterfly effect, right? You don't have to move a country to move a country. What if you could just beat a butterfly's wing? And all of a sudden you've, hey, Bridgie. And all of a sudden you've created enormous ripples of impact. Like, I really honestly believe that's the feminine's power. That's why it's so powerful, right? Bridget and I were recording a podcast this morning and she was talking about her husband surfing. and that he grew up and cultivated his masculine in surfing, of riding the feminine and being in her wildish nature and knowing that there's an edge of death and danger, and, you know, really building his masculine through that. And I was just sitting with such awe and love and respect for that, because we've just come from the surf beach where I love it too, but my husband and son love to body surf and just get smashed and crashed and beat around by, you know, this fabulous surf. And we were just ruminating on how absolutely divine that is, that really one of the lightest embodiments of the feminine is the ocean. And she's so powerful. So powerful. If she has the will, she can, you know, kill you in a second. And yet she's so glorious when you just get to ride with her. And I just think that's so reminiscent of the dynamic of masculine and feminine. The feminine is so powerful. That's why our paradigms have needed to find ways to control and restrict and overpower as a way of just kind of keeping it manageable. What if instead, and I think we do that with the masculine too, just so you know, what if instead it could be this space where he can be the surfer and you can be the wave, and you can have awe and respect for the power and the divinity in each of you, but you don't need to change one. You can just learn how to meet the chaos of it. I just think, enough doing. Stop exhausting yourself. Relationship doesn't need to be that fucking hard. Same as parenting. It can just be you choose a different set of beliefs and you choose a different way of being, and you choose to cultivate your feminine more than you choose to consistently and habitually cultivate and show up in your relationship with your masculine. It's just an habituation. It's not a core truth of who you are. Everybody join Queen School. Thanks, Bridgie. I really, I'm loving the shit out of it. Ugh, so good. But I was just having that conversation and thinking, man, and Bridget and I were saying this morning, we wish every woman in the world could have these conversations. But the truth is, not everyone's willing to make that leap. But, you know, that's how I see it, as just a bowing of individuation rather than a power trip, you know, girls running the world or men running the world. What if instead we just saw each other's absolute divine beauty and power and strength and individualized way of showing up in this world, and we chose to cultivate that within each other so that we could work collaboratively to create something far more potent and beautiful. So stop exhausting yourself. It doesn't have to be the truth. I don't think motherhood has to be exhausting, and I don't think relationship has to be exhausting. I just think that's the cultural lie we've been taught, and the more we run a pattern, the more it becomes a habit, and a habit becomes our reality. It doesn't have to be a truth though. What would it mean to choose something different? That's my thoughts. And if you want to join Queen School, it's only open until Tuesday. Sorry, my voice is going. You see, putting this work out in the world has actually given me a head cold and I'm all congested about it. So I'm still working through my layers to do it. But I'm still showing up for it because it's so close to just my core. And I was saying to Bridgie this morning, you know, just this last couple of weeks, my husband's had my kids a little bit more while I've done more work. No, they're not, but we cut ourselves off from the magic of relationship and soaring together. Yeah, that's right, Bridge. Rather than someone always missing out. It doesn't have to be a win-lose. It can totally be a win-win, can't it? Totally. Anyway, that's what I was saying. And anyway, I'd come home from a couple of times with my husband and he was like, oh, you know, Gwen, you really need it. It's my little 2-year-old, really needed some listening time today. So we had a good, 30, 40 minute cry, good listening time, really good. And I was like, holy shit, who are you? Right. Like, I just thought you have moved mountains internally to be able to be here, holding the chaos for this tiny evolving little feminine being, meeting her with openness, this divine, open spine, open heart of the masculine when they're in their kingship. And here you are, just penetrating her chaos with your conscious gaze and love. How fucking profound. And there's no way he could have got there by me telling him how to do it. He certainly hasn't got there by reading the books I've read, or by me scolding him like a naughty little boy in all the ways that he didn't measure up. And he's got there by the fact that he's opened up channels within himself simply because we've decided to open up intimacy. My entering the space of opening intimacy is the core of who we are and how we show up with individuals. And that like proliferates out in circles and feeds every other area of our life. So as if he's not a more profound lover at work and he manages a team of about 20 women, as if he can't show up for them more profoundly and have a bigger impact because of the work that we do in the bedroom or in our intimacy. And look how he shows up for his little tiny daughter. Fuck, listening to tears for half an hour is really intense. And here is this man who's wouldn't define himself as conscious, just an average Aussie bloke, who's like showing up in all the ways because we've created a safety for intimacy and a place to explore his bandwidth and his stretching. And we've done that, so you can pick your place, right? We've done that stretching in intimacy, and he can then use that skill set in parenting, and he can use it at work, and he can use it wherever he wants to use it, right? Like, I think that's profound. I think when we work out all of the barriers we have to our own intimacy, the more powerful we are and the more we step into who we're always supposed to be. Like, I just kind of think that's pretty amazing. So good, isn't it, Bridge? So good. Hey, Alicia. So that was a little bit of a ramble, but that's what I jumped in here to say. And if you're in my Soften program, I'm going to see you tonight at 8:30. We're doing Taking Up Space. 8:30, yes. And if you're in Queen School, I will see you for, what is our topic today? He wants to be moved by you. I'll see you at 7:30 for that one. Such juicy stuff, it's so good. So I'll see you soon. If you want to jump in, I will pop the link below. It's only open till Tuesday. I'll see ya.